Hey, Arman here, and in this video we're going to talk about weight training rest periods. This is another area that unfortunately I look in the gym and I'm just totally amazed. I mean, people do a set do an exercise and do a set and then set on the machine and just sit there and wait. Or they'll get their phone out, which I see a lot of that, and just look, they're trying to do work or whatever on their phone in between sets. That is not going to help you get you where you want to be. You have to stimulate the muscle fibers to grow or to do what you need them to do, but you can't just sit around and do a little bit here, a little bit there, and think that that's going to be beneficial for what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, it's not going to work. I see it all the time. And you look at these people, and they don't change at all, but they're in there doing the same thing over and over, the same process, and then using their phone. They walk out and come back to the same thing again or do a different routine. And again, they're not getting anything out of it. So what we're talking about here is not to waste your precious time. You don't get that back. And if you want to make your program sustainable, you need to be very efficient with how you do it. And that's another thing that we focus on here is being efficient, because efficient is better and it also gives you better recovery and it's more sustainable. It just is. And you're still going to put on just as much strength and muscle. Whether you listen to other people and their comments, you can do that, but I've done it both ways, okay? And what we're talking about here works really well. All right, so when you're doing rest periods, the first thing is depends on your goals and the exercises you're doing, okay? So if you're looking to build strength, then typically we're going to go a little bit more rest, but at the same time, if you want to build muscle, we can go a little shorter and still use heavy weight, but you're just using shorter rest breaks to keep the pressure on the muscle, to increase the intensity, which is intensity is what builds muscle, okay? People don't understand that. So examples of intensity are heavy weight, going to failure with an exercise, supersetting, going from one exercise to another with no rest, or doing a drop set where you do as much weight as you can, then you drop some more weight and you go again. These things create muscle breakdown, and the muscle breakdown is what creates the new muscle to be repaired to be able to perform to do that exercise again in the future. So that's what builds muscles, intensity. So you don't need to have all these long periods of training, which people waste. They're wasting time. They think they're getting something from it, but like anything, there's a point of marginal returns once you get to so far. And you'll know that because if you're successful in business, you know there's only so much that's going to help, and that's it. There's no more else you can do. Okay, unless you can see more return. If not, that's it. So when it comes to exercises, the ones you're going to need more rest for are the ones that are going to take a lot more oxygen. And that's typically going to be a compound exercise like squats, leg presses, row movements for your back. Pressing movements can do it too if you're going pretty heavy. So compound exercises will typically require a little more rest. So we can work that in. That's really not a problem. But we don't need to be doing all compound exercises. And then another thing that kind of annoys me is these people like, oh well, you get more out of doing compound exercises. That's the most efficient. Just do compound exercises. Well, if you look at the physique of most people who do that, it doesn't look like my physique. Okay, that's the thing you want to understand. People preaching certain things, you want to look at how they look and then say, well, it may be working, but I don't know how much it's doing for you, because I see a lot of this. So keep that in mind. But for rest periods, compound exercises will require a little more, and that's basically, we're talking longer rest periods, we're talking 2 to 3 minutes. That's it. So you need to be ready and in position when that, the 120 or, when the 3 minutes comes around, 2 minutes or 3 minutes comes around, you need to be ready. You don't want to all of a sudden then get ready to do your exercise, because you need to keep pressure on the body. You need to be breaking down the muscle so that you can get this done. The quicker you get it done, you're on to the next thing, okay? So let's talk about shorter rest periods. So a lot of exercises you can do shorter rest periods, especially like shoulders and arms, calves, these they're smaller muscle groups, so they're going to recover a little quicker, and they don't require as much ATP to reload to give you the energy. And that's what you're looking for. When you do the 2 to 3 minutes, you're just looking to restore your ATP so you have more to work with to lift the weight. But at the end of the day, that's only so much, okay? It's not it's not as big a deal as it maybe made out to be, okay? All right, so when we're talking about short rest periods, we're talking 15 to 30 seconds is really ideal once you're conditioning. So that's another factor. Once your conditioning is good, then these shorter rest periods are very effective, but no more than a minute is considered a short rest period. So what we're doing when you're training a muscle with resistance, you're pushing blood into that muscle. You want to push as much blood into that muscle as you can, to help it break down and help engorge the capillaries, to allow the fascia of the muscle to stretch and enlarge. That's what you're doing. So again, you're not gonna get big, huge muscles. Okay, this stuff is a process that takes time. So some people think, oh, I'm gonna get really big and massive. No, this is a lot of work. Okay, if you want to get big and massive, that's a lot of work. We're just showing you how to get as efficient as you can to get some good return and get some muscle that you're looking for. Okay, so you got to keep all that in mind. All right, so when you're doing the rest periods, if you're out of breath a lot, okay, then you may need to go a little bit longer because your conditioning is not quite there. This is normal, okay? But what you're trying to do is focus on it so that the next time you do it, you get a little more efficient and you can go a little bit quicker. Then as you get good at that, then you start adding more weight. So that challenges the body again. And this keeps your intensity level high. So you're breaking down the muscle, the body recovers and rebuilds it. So you're ready for the next time you go. And it's also rewarding when you know you come back in and you're able to be more efficient and you do more. That just means you're making progress. So we need a way to get that feedback. A lot of people, they work with people and they see a lot of results, so they're not getting feedback, and then they quit because they're not getting what they want. So I'm here to push you, but also push you the right way so that you can engage this with your schedule and all the things you have going on in a simplistic manner. And then we just kind of keep adapting it as you get better and you decide, hey, I want to see if I can do this and do that. I mean, you want to take it to another level? We got you covered. I mean, it's whatever level you want to go to. I mean, if you want to do a contest, we got you covered. So most people aren't going to want to do that, as I mentioned before. But at the same time, if you want to go there, we got the tools and methods to help you do it. Okay. All right. Now, again, the other thing that's going to depend on your rest periods is your skill level, like what you understand about the exercise. And so if you're just getting started, it's going to be a slower process. So no big deal, because in the beginning, if you're just getting started, everything you do is stimulating the body. Okay. Your body's like going, wow. And that's why you don't want to do too much in the beginning. You got to let the body get used to this. And some people get all gung-ho and they want to go in and start training for an hour. That's not realistic and that's not necessary. And I see a lot of personal trainers, they put these people through 45 minutes an hour and they're not even in good shape. And so they get so damn sore they can't even move. Okay, what good's that going to do? Now you're depressed, your energy levels are not good, and you're hurting all day. So that's not what it's about. You're going to be some soreness, but it's keep it efficient. Okay, based on how you're adapting. Okay, so skill level is important. Then again, based on your goals, if your goals are just get some more strength, well, we're going to do a little bit slower rest periods, longer rest periods. But if you're looking to pack on some muscle, we're going to move a little quicker. Okay, because hypertrophy comes from pushing a lot of blood to the muscle and breaking down more muscle. You don't only break down so much muscle when you lift heavy. So on that being said, people that do a lot of straight sets, you do that over a period of time, your body figures it out. So then next thing you know, they don't get any more progress, but they keep doing the same thing. And they don't even add any more weight or anything, they just stay right where they're at and just keep going over and over. That's not efficient. That's an absolute waste of your time. So to get competent with these things, that's where we're going to help educate you, because people are just they're incompetent totally on the whole process and they're winging it the whole time, hoping to get some results. And sometimes they'll get some, but how much are they getting for the amount of time and effort and sacrifice they're doing? That's what we're talking about. And another thing is, again, like we mentioned on conditioning, as your conditioning gets better, your energy goes up. So again, working at a fast pace is going to give you that conditioning. I mean, if you look at pro athletes, they have great conditioning because they're doing a lot quick. There's not a lot of rest. Okay, then they get breaks and they go at it all again. Then they get a break. Same concept, but we don't need to go real long, because they're doing an athletic thing. We're doing muscle breakdown with resistance training. So you just need a short burst of work, break down some muscle, eat the right way, get some sleep, keep your hormones optimized, and then you're going to repair, rebuild. You're going to wake up looking better. Now, it's not an overnight thing, but each day you're going to look a little bit better whether you realize it or not. And that's why it's important to get your before photos done and have them uploaded into the app so we have that to reference off, because I have clients, when they see how much difference they look after just 6 weeks, they're totally surprised, because when you're looking in the mirror all the time, you don't necessarily notice the changes quite as much. You notice them, but when you see a photo 6 weeks between or 8 weeks, it can be a real noticeable change, and you're like, wow, okay, that's a motivator. That gets you to want to keep going. That gets you to say, what else can I do with this? It's like being successful in business. Once you have a marketing thing, it's generating you cash flow and it's working, you got to pour, more fuel on the fire, because you don't know how long it's going to last. And the same thing with muscle building. You're only going to build so much muscle. Your body's only going to do so much. So we want to get it where you want it as quickly as possible, then just maintain it. Or if you want to do some other things with it, we can do that. So that's what this program is all about, is getting you to the next level. Okay, now, here's one thing that's also a problem that I see in the gym all the time. And I'm referencing the gym, but I mean people that train at home, whatever. You don't want to rest too long. That's not helping. That's slowing down your metabolic rate and your cardio. It's going to create cardio issues because you're not getting the conditioning. You're just taking breaks, and it also makes the workout last too long, and now you're wasting time. And just remember, time we don't get back. We got to maximize every opportunity to be efficient, to get more of what we want to do with the time we have. Not waste it because you don't know better, or because you're thinking that it's working. We need clarity in all this. And that's what we do here. We give you clarity because we want you to be the highest performer, to get the best results quick as possible, because we want other clients we want to work with, like you, in the future. And that's why it's important to understand all these different principles that we're going to outline, and we have a lot of them, about what works, what doesn't work, and how to get the results you're looking for. All right, so that's it for this video. Again, if you got questions, pop those in our comments, pop those in the group, and we can kind of discuss it. Other than that, we'll talk to you again real soon.